The Imposter is a documentary centered on a young Frenchman who convinces a grieving Texas family that he is their 16-year-old son who went missing for 3 years.
The thought of what somebody could have done to him, it gives you nightmares.
I was very much looking forward to seeing this documentary at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival because, I mean, how can you possibly not be interested in a plot like that? A guy convinces a family who lost their son 3 years ago, he went missing, they don't know where the heck he is. A French guy convinces them that he is their son, and they buy it. On top of that, there was the awesome poster that just tied everything together and made it a movie that was absolutely on my must-see list. Now, if this movie does anything, it proves that truth is very often stranger than fiction. This is a great fiction story, and it's not fiction, it's real. And while I was a little bit let down by the conclusion of the documentary, which I will get into at the end of this video when I talk some spoilers, overall, it was a very, very good documentary that kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. It played out like a narrative, almost like a thriller movie, and it kept you wondering what the heck was going to happen because it was such a crazy story. And the most important thing that I want to stress is that the visuals are great. This documentary had better visuals than a lot of movies that I've seen, so that was huge. So let me get a little bit more in depth with The Imposter. First of all, the story, like I said, it's really something that I feel like you can't write this stuff. It's real, and it would not be able to exist if it wasn't real because it's almost too crazy to be true, but it is. The story was presented in a very mysterious way. They didn't lay out all their cards on the table at the start of it or anything like that, and you didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know about the actual true story, so I didn't know where it was going to go, but I thought there was a lot of very interesting twists and turns, and, you know, I'll get into some of them in the spoilers, like I said, but it was really interesting to me that it was presented almost like a narrative, and this is getting into, I guess, the directing and just how the movie was put together as a whole. It was presented like a narrative. You almost felt like you were watching a fictional movie at times, and then the people would come back in and you're like, oh wow, this is real. These people actually experienced this and lived through this. And so I thought that was really interesting. That helped to make it very, very compelling, very mysterious, and really, like I said, kept me on the edge of my seat. Now, I have to say that the one thing that stood out to me, as great as the visuals were, like I said, all of the visuals of the recreated scenes and stuff and everything that happened, I thought were fantastic. Like, they were beautiful, beautiful images, but the most important thing to me was there's one part where they actually have home movie footage, and that really sells it because up until that point, it's almost like, I know they're telling me this is real, but I just can't believe it. And then they show some real home movie footage, and it's real. Like, it actually happened. It's crazy. And I thought all of the interviews were done well. It didn't feel like they were trying to exploit the family who obviously went through a really crazy sort of situation here. And it didn't feel like they were, you know, nice, yeah, let me see those tears or anything like that if there was any, like, emotional parts. It felt very genuine, which is surprising to me because that's usually my biggest problem with documentaries that are about anything that might make someone emotional. It's almost like you want them to be emotional, but it didn't feel like that in this movie, so I thought that was very good. But overall, like I said, I was a little bit let down by the conclusion, which I'm about to get to, but it is really a very well done documentary that kept me completely engaged and interested in what was going to happen next. And of course, like I said, great visuals. That is something that's a huge standout. So now I'm going to talk about some spoilers, I guess you could call them. I mean, it's a true story, so you might be aware of it, but I don't want to ruin it for you because it plays out, like I said, in a way that makes it very mysterious. So if you have not seen The Imposter, do not watch the rest of this video. Wait until you see The Imposter, then you can come back and check out what I have to say about the ending. So yeah, let's talk about the ending. I was a little bit let down by it only because, and you know, it is a true story, so you can only take it as far as the true story goes, but it made it feel like they were about to find something at the end. And, you know, I guess I should have known that they wouldn't because we probably would have heard about that. I feel like it would have been a bigger story, but I thought that something big was going to happen, and it almost kind of like took you up a little bit, and then it let you fall because nothing happened that you might have thought would happen. You know what I mean. But I did think that angle was very interesting of they didn't know, you know, was it an inside job, I guess you could call it. Like, did any of the family know what happened to the kid? And, you know, it's a little bit open-ended, and in the Q&A it was interesting to see what the filmmakers thought of it, but they could only go so far as the facts gave. But that's really all I have to say about this movie in terms of spoilers, in terms of in general. Let me know in the comments what you thought of The Imposter. Were you as engaged and on the edge of your seat, I suppose, as I was, or were you not? Let me know what you thought of the visuals, the fact that most of it was all, you know, recreated memories and stuff, and also let me know what you thought of the home movie footage, which, like I said, I thought was huge. That really, really sold it for me, because up until then, it's like, I can't even believe this. But let me know anything that you want about The Imposter, and that's pretty much it.